Happy Wednesday, good midweek. Glory and honor and power to our Father who is the third heaven, whose kingdom will come and his will be done on this earth as it is done in the third heaven. Glory and honor and power to he who created all things and who is in control of all things, and to his son, Messiah, Yahushua, through whom he offers salvation, perfection of righteousness, eternal wisdom, forgiveness and cleansing of all sin, and power over sin. Glory and honor to Yahushua and to Messiah Yahushua and his father Yahweh. Greetings to the chat, brother David Harriet from the UK, my brothers and sisters all over the planet. Superstar, greetings to you. Greetings to all my brothers and sisters, wherever you be. This week, a couple of things. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Two families went to an event. It was like a race car event, something to that effect, for entertainment. It was in South Carolina. And the two families were following each other. They came from a town that was close to the Georgia and South Carolina border. So the event was in South Carolina and they were going back home to Georgia. One car was in the front, one was in the back. In the front car was a man and his wife and two little children, both of whom I'm not sure their ages, but I'm sure they were both under 7 years old. Two little kids under 7 years old, strapped in the back seat, mom and dad in the front seat. So as this little caravan of these two cars was headed from South Carolina to their neighborhood, to their home in Georgia, another car came, an SUV, and it got between the two cars. The SUV seemed to get irritated at mom and dad in the front and did not pass on the left. He wanted to pass, but he didn't pass on the left. Instead, what he did, he went off the road on the right side of the highway, off the road, passed in front of mom and dad with their two kids in their car, then came back into the road in front of them and slowed down. Then he went to the left lane until he was even with mom and dad and pulled out an automatic weapon that had a laser on it. Now, a laser, if you're not familiar with it, a laser helps a person that is shooting a gun to hit their target, because the laser is pointing at the target. This man had the laser beam focused on the front seat with the parents and shot through the back window where the kids were, hitting mother of two in the back of her head. The man that was following the four family members saw the whole thing and described it to the police and to the news. And so the mother received gunshot to the back of the head. As far as I remember, as far as I know at this point, she's in critical condition. She didn't die. The shattering of the glass went into the eyes of the two little kids and damaged their eyes, not knowing exactly at this time how much damage happened. The police chalked this up to road rage. So basically, whoever shot at these people was angry at the car and how they were driving, didn't know them, and pulled out a weapon and shot into the car. This is happening with more and more frequency. People are getting enraged on the road enough to the point of committing murder or attempting to commit murder on the road. Whose fault is it that people are getting so angry to do such heinous acts? Whose fault is it? And somebody would ask, where is God in all of this? Another situation which we know is this young man, PhD student at the University of Washington State University, which is a close distance apparently to University of Idaho, went to a off-campus apartment at the university of some students that attended the University of Idaho and hacked with a knife 4 of the students to death. He was covered in garb and from head to toe, apparently gloved and all of that, and left the scene in a white vehicle, changed the license plates of the vehicle so that he thought he wasn't going to be detected. What ended up happening is a couple of things. The police have the ability to find out when somebody's near a property if they're carrying a cell phone. You don't have to be talking on the cell phone. If you have a cell phone, when so apparently he drove past the property approximately 6 different times at dates close to the murders. And they knew this by just knowing that a cell phone tower was tapped as he drove past the house. Then they found the sheath that the knife he used was in and found DNA on it. Couldn't confirm if it was his, but since they knew that a car had drawn past the house, they were able to find out what car it was, find out it was this guy's car. See, they can find you regardless, brother. I just want to let you know that. There's no hiding. They will find you, okay? So they found it was his car, but could not get him to give a DNA sample. So they got the garbage of his daddy and got a DNA sample of his daddy. And with 99% accuracy, determined that someone 99% related to the daddy killed these people. Nevertheless, they caught him. And the crazy thing is, he really thought that he's going to get away with this murder. There is no motive for the murder except that he just thought he could get away with it. Whose fault is that? That a young man would walk into an off-campus housing and just hack to death 4 students. Somebody might ask, where is God in all of this? Every day, as we know, every day, in all 50 states of the United States, and in every county of all 50 states in the United States, a child is molested. Every day. Every day, somebody is trafficked into a sex trade, usually pornography to be filmed, but oftentimes pornography and or prostitution. Every day. Oftentimes, they're underage teenagers or children. Whose fault is that? Somebody might ask, where is God in all of that? Let me explain something very plainly for you if somebody ever comes at you with something like this. If somebody ever comes at you and says, where is your God when all of these things happen? Where is your God when our people were being lynched? Where is your God when rapes happen? Where is your God? Somebody might ask. See, the thing is, people ask this question, right? But they don't want to know a biblical answer. See, they'll usually ask Christians this question, but they don't want to know an answer. And please read your Bible. Start at Genesis and finish in Revelation so you'll know these things for yourself. Well, in Psalms 18, for example, Psalms 18, verse 30. Psalms 18, verse 30. As for the Most High, his way is perfect. The word of Yahweh is tried. He is a buckler to all those that trust in him. As for the Most High, his way is perfect. Messiah said, there is no unrighteousness in him. So, we can conclude based on this and many other scriptures, that any evil like these that come upon the earth has nothing to do with Father Yah. Somebody might ask, well, where is he? What is he? Why does he allow these things? And these are ignorant questions because most people that ask them have never read the Bible. But you can answer them. Father Yah, when he created man, man came from his hands perfect. Let's look. Genesis chapter 1. And let's start on the 6th day. Genesis chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse. Yes, I'm going to start in the 6th day and start at verse 24. Genesis chapter 1, verse 24. And the Most High said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth after his kind, and it was so. And the Most High made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. And the Most High said, let us make man in our image, that is, in the image of Father Yah and in the image of Messiah Yahushua. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So the Most High created man in his own image. In the image of the Most High created he him. Male and female created he them. And the Most High blessed them. And the Most High said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And the Most High said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree bearing seed, yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to every thing that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And the Most High saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the 6th day. So he said it was very good. He made it after his own image. In the Bible we just read, the Bible said in Psalms 18, as for Yah, his way is perfect. The way of Yahweh is tried. He is a buckler to all that put their trust in him. So, as himself, so he made man perfect. Perfect in harmony, balance, perfect in body and mind and spirit, in perfect harmony with nature. The nature ate what Yah provided, and man ate what Yah provided. And nature was in balance and in harmony with the man, and the man was in balance and in harmony with nature. And then Yah did something else. Genesis chapter 2, beginning at verse 1 down to verse 7. Genesis chapter 2, beginning at verse 1 down to verse 7. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the 7th day, Yah ended his work, which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Yah blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Yah created and made. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that Yahweh Most High created the earth and the heavens, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For Yahweh Most High had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, mist, and watered the whole face of the ground. And Yahweh Most High formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So he did that as far as making man on the sixth day. And on the seventh day, he created a block of time to memorialize what he had done in the previous 6 days, set it apart as a memorial, as a memory of what he did in creating everything on the planet that had life, as it said, in his image in 6 literal days. Okay? So he created the Sabbath. He commanded the man that he created after his own image. Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2, beginning at verse 15. Genesis 2, 15, 16, and 17. And Yahweh Most High took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And Yahweh Most High commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Now, he also had, as we know, the tree of life in the midst of the garden. There was no limit as to man partaking of that tree. That tree was to perpetuate man's eternal existence. Why do you suppose the Most High would tell man, I don't want you eating of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I don't want you to eat of the tree to give you knowledge of good and evil. I don't want you to eat of that tree. He told him that. He told the man that. Okay, I don't want you to know about good and evil. All I want you to know about is eternal life. That's all I want you to know about. I only want you to understand and know life, eternal life. Can you imagine? Man was permitted to see living things that will live forever and to study them, everything from plants and flowers and animals and nature, to study them, because they would all continue existence forever, and he himself would continue in eternal youth forever and ever and ever if he obeyed his father. If he obeyed his father. Because the knowledge of good and evil would cause the man to become like that knowledge. You know, I was talking to my wife the other day, and it hit me the other day. Oftentimes when I was young, when I was a boy, I used to watch Perry Mason. It was one of my favorite shows coming up. This was back in the 60s, you know, Perry Mason, the lawyer, right? And I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer because of Perry Mason. And for some reason, it never came to pass. I never became a lawyer. And I often wondered, why didn't the Most High allow me to become a lawyer? Now, I believe, now I know, I didn't really understand then. But lawyers, and bless them, bless the lawyers, but lawyers, I wanted to be a defense lawyer like Perry Mason. And the reason he didn't allow me, and I'm just speaking for me, defense lawyers see the worst, the absolute worst of human beings. They see the most heinous human beings every day. And they defend, oftentimes, this heinous human being. The police are the same way. They get to see the lowest sort of humankind. So do corrections officers. And oftentimes, having beheld the worst that humanity has to offer, sometimes they get changed into the image of what they're seeing. The Bible does say in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, Second Corinthians chapter 4, beginning at verse, no, actually, I want chapter 3. Sorry, I want 2 Corinthians chapter 3. 2 Corinthians chapter 3. I'm going to begin, let's see. Let me begin at verse 1. And I'm going to read down to verse 18. 2 Corinthians, for context, 2 Corinthians chapter 3 from verse 1 to verse 18. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 from verse 1 to verse 18. Do we begin again to commend ourselves, the apostle asks in this epistle? Or need we, as some others, epistles of commendation to you or letters of commendation from you? Ye are our epistle, written in our hearts, known and read of all men. For as much as ye are manifestly declared to be the epistle of Messiah, ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living Most High, not in tables of stone, but in the fleshy tables of the heart. And as such, trust we through Messiah to the Most High's word, that not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of Yah, who also hath made us able ministers of the new covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. But if the ministration of death written and graven in stones was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away, how shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious? For if the ministration of condemnation be glory, much more doth the ministration of righteousness exceed glory. For even that which was made glorious had no glory in this respect, by reason of the glory that excelleth. For if that which is done away was glorious, much more that which remaineth is glorious. Seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech. It wasn't so plain, but let's read on. Not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that's what he's talking about, that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished, but their minds were blinded. Until this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in Messiah. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to the master, the veil shall be taken away. Now, the master is that Spirit. And where the Spirit of the master is, there is liberty. But we all, with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the master, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the master. So Moses hid his face. Why did he hid his face? The Bible tells us because it was so bright from being in the presence of the Father that the children of Israel were scared to look at him. They were scared to look at him. Well, why was his face glowing from being in the presence of the Father? Not only that, of course, as we know from Exodus 34, he had spent 40 days with no food and no water in the presence of the Father, and wasn't sick and wasn't weak. In fact, was glowing with power. The power is the righteousness of the Father. And so the veil was covering the brightness that came from Father's righteousness. That's what he's talking about when he talks about things being done away. What was done away? The veil was done away so that the Father's righteousness can be revealed. Does that make sense, y'all? Because by beholding the Father's righteousness, we become changed into the image of the Father's righteousness. When we behold good and evil all day, especially evil, we become changed into that evil. Okay? That is why the Father did not want his children to eat of a tree of good and evil, because they would be changed into that evil. Because by disobeying their father, they would take on the doctrine of the enemy of that tree, the enemy who owned that tree, which is Asatan. And his doctrine is, you shall not surely die. Father's lying to you. You shall not surely die. The tree is good for food. It will make you wise. And you can be your own God. That's the devil's doctrine. You could be your own God. The Father's lying to you. You won't die. Don't believe his word. Don't believe his word. You could be your own God. Don't believe his word. He's lying to you. And you'll be as a God yourself, knowing good and evil. They ate the tree. They were changed. The Spirit of the Father departed from them. The Spirit of the Father does not stay with the disobedient. The Father's Spirit is the Spirit of righteousness. That's it. You can see there. And when you are disobedient, when your heart is hardened, that's why the Bible says, I'm going to take from you the stony heart out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. And then I'm going to put my spirit on you, and you're going to keep my statutes and judgments. You know, that's Ezekiel chapter 36. He said, why is it our hearts are hardened? Because we don't have the Father's Spirit moving in our hearts. We don't have his perfect righteousness in view. See, the disciples' heart was hardened before Messiah had converted them all. And the reason their heart was hardened because they didn't have the Father's Spirit. They were looking only on the flesh. They were looking only as man looked. They had been under the influence of the Sanhedrin, a man-made group of a man-made religion that had nothing to do with Father Yah, nothing to do with what Moses gave them. But they used part of what Moses did and added their own rules and regulations to it. And when you do that, you don't have Father Yah anymore. You have man. So that when you have 666, man made on the sixth day, and man-made religion from the beast, the dragon, and the false prophet, you don't have Father Yah. Therefore, you don't have his protection. You have your own protection because you have now declared yourself to be your own God. And this, brethren, is one of the issues in these last days, which is why some of you are being called to study this book, and you are learning of the perfect righteousness of the Father that you can only get through Messiah, and you are learning that you need to be covered with this code of perfect righteousness, otherwise you will not be accepted. You're learning that, but many of your human counterparts have no idea about that. None. Some of them think that a building with wooden crosses, or that a wooden cross itself, is the Father. Some of them think that a building made of stones, stacked up one for another, that they can bow to, represents the Father. And so the conception of what Yah is perverted. It's completely, utterly perverted. Which is why knowing the truth of what he is and who he is will cause the ones that trust in the truth to be changed into his image. And the truth is, Father Yah called and brought forth Adam. Adam disobeyed his father. Adam suffered the consequences of death. But Adam taught Seth. First, he taught Abel. And then Abel was murdered by his jealous brother. Then The Most High gave them Seth. Adam taught Seth. Seth taught Enos. And it went down the line as they were teaching till they came to Methuselah, then Lamech, and then Noah. And Noah preached the word of Father's perfect righteousness and of coming judgment to those that would think they can trust in a man-made religion 666. And he preached of a coming judgment, and only his bloodline, with those who married the bloodline, were saved. Just so. After that flood, Father Yah chose a man named Abram. He was named by his daddy, Abram. Father Yah said, I'm going to change your name because now you're trusting in my righteousness to Abraham. And I'm going to make you a great nation, Abraham. And whosoever blesses you will be blessed. And whosoever curses you will be cursed. The same with your seed. Father Yah, Abraham. Now Abraham decided with his wife, well, since you're going to bless my seed, you ain't having no children, Sarah. Maybe we should try another way. The wife giving Abraham this advice. So Abraham went into the African woman, Hagar, the Hamite, and had a son. The father said, that ain't the one I chose. I'm going to bless him because he's your seed. I'm going to bless him. Ishmael, I'm going to bless him. But that ain't the chosen seed. The chosen seed coming from your wife, Sarah. They laughed because Abraham was 98 and Sarah was 88. They laughed. And father said, okay, you're going to have the son next year and you're going to call him to laugh. His name is going to be Yisha'ak because you laughed. Sarah said, I didn't laugh. Messiah said, yes, you did. So they called him to laugh. So now he come forth. Father blesses him because he said, I'm going to bless you for your father Abraham obeyed my laws, commandments, and statutes. I'm going to bless you. Now, he got married. He was 40 years old to a young girl named Rebecca, who he had never met before. It was an arranged marriage. She was his cousin, distant cousin. So they get married and 20 years go by and he got no child. Finally, at age 60, she's pregnant. Not only is she pregnant, she's pregnant with twins. So these two boys are fighting. They're fighting in her womb and she's asking the Most High, why am I having so much trouble if you blessing us? Father said there's two manner of men in your womb. And there's two manner of nations. And the elder shall serve the younger. So out come Esau first, hairy all over. And grabbing him by the heel to get out that womb, they named that one Yaakov, which means usurper or usurper, because he wasn't going to be left in there. He was a little slickster. They called him Yaakov or Jacob. Now later on, Jacob, being the slickster, tricked his brother out of the birthright, tricked his father to get the blessing, and he had to suffer for 20 years. Because of that, he repented of his sin, and the Most High came to him and blessed him with 11 sons. He had Joseph later. Benjamin. He had Benjamin later. Blessed him with 11 sons and said, okay, you can go back to your father's house. Now you learned your lesson. On his way back, he runs into Esau. And Esau ain't in the friendly mood. Esau got 400 men. They coming deep for his brother Yaakov. Yaakov prayed to Father Yah, confessing his sin and trusting in the Father's righteousness, trusting in his promises. And the Father sent Messiah to him. And Messiah announced to him, your name is not Yaakov anymore. Your name is Yasha'ah, because you're a prince to the Father. and you're right with him. Yashar means right with the Most High. And your children will be a nation that I'm going to bless, and they're going to be my people. Now, when you know this and you understand it, the next step for you to understand who the Father is, and he's not no white Jesus, and he's not with no wooden cross, neither is he with a stack of bricks in the Middle East. When you understand this, then you understand who is his chosen people today. Well, when you read this book, it tells you his chosen people continually go into slavery. They're the tail and not the head. They look like Ethiopians. In fact, where they fled through the rivers of Ethiopia. They were taken into slavery in the whole four corners of the earth. When you understand that they were not only all of that, but their children were given to another people who raped them, and the Bible tells you they would rape them and take away their children and put chains on their children's necks, and they would be taken away by slave ship, and there would be nobody to buy out their slavery, to redeem them from it. They would be in chattel slavery. When you put all that together and you understand who Father Yah's true people are, now you understand that he chosen them, that they went through all this because he's going to bring them back from the death. The last shall be first and the first shall be last. You understand now who the true Father is. You understand where his attention is. And you understand that he has nothing to do with all of this evil going on the planet, that man brought that on himself by choosing the one that is in control of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That no heinous things that are named come from Father Yah. That is all from Asatan and those that want to worship or believe Asatan's doctrines. Again, let's go over those doctrines. You could be your own God. You can make up your own religion, and you'll never die. You can disobey the word of the Most High and live forever anyway. That's the doctrine of Asatan. That is 666. Man made on the sixth day thinking he's a god. In fact, let's take a look at that. Genesis chapter 5, verse 22. Genesis 5:22. Or is it 3:22? I think it's 3:22. Genesis 3:22. Yes, it's 3:22. Genesis 3:22. And Yahweh Most High said, behold, the man is become as one of us. See, like a God, to know good and evil. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore, Yahweh Most High sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man and placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. Obviously, the tree of life was taken from the earth before the flood. Otherwise, you see it today, but it was gone. So he guarded it with cherubims and drove the man away from it. And the man, thinking he's a god because he was made on the sixth day, was now on his own to die back to dust from where he came, from where the Father made him. So, brethren, today, Father, as we know, he's not taking back anything less than perfection. He made Adam perfect. He's not taking back anything less than what he created. And he intends to take the imperfect man and make him perfect again. But he's not a rapist. So man must choose whom he will serve. Whether the gods of this world, whether it's yourself or some entertainer or some man-made religion, because Christianity is a man-made religion. Why do I say Christianity is a man-made religion? Messiah never announced or implied that he was starting a new religion. He came to confirm the covenant given to the children of Israel. And when he said, I came for a new testament or a new covenant, he wasn't just talking about the writings of Paul. He was talking about a renewed covenant in the blood of Messiah. A renewed covenant, as Hebrews tells us, and as Jeremiah tells us, between Father Yah and the house of Israel and the house of Judah. That was the renewed covenant. And the revealing, the doing away with the veil, the revealing of the perfect righteousness of the Father, so that those like Abraham trust in Father's perfect righteousness, it is accounted unto them for righteousness. And he covers us in our imperfection and human frailty with the divine perfect righteousness and counts us as restored, although we're only restored, which is the most important part, in our spirit. That's where it starts, in the spirit. In the spirit. Okay? Once your spirit is restored to the Father's perfect righteousness because you have confessed your sin. 1 John chapter 1. 1 John chapter 1. 1 John chapter 1. I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 10, 1 John chapter 1. 1 John chapter 1 from 1 through 10. It explains it better than I can. 1 John chapter 1 from 1 to 10. That which was from the beginning, which we have heard. John is an eyewitness. Which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes, which we have looked upon, and our hands have handled of the word of life. John is bearing witness. He's an eyewitness. If you believe him or you don't. If you don't, okay, you don't need to listen no more. But if you do, he's an eyewitness, okay? For the life was manifested, and we have seen it, and bear witness, and show unto you that eternal life which was with the Father, and was manifested unto us. That which we have seen and heard declare we unto you, that ye also may have fellowship with us, and truly our fellowship is with the Father, and with his Son, Messiah, Yahushua. And these things write we unto you, that your joy may be full. This then is the message which we have heard of him, and declare unto you, that Yah is light, and in him is no darkness at all. See, anything dark going on in the planet has nothing to do with Father Yah. Yah is light. And in him, there's no darkness at all. See, if you come into Father Yah and you don't believe that, you're not going to get the fullness of Father Yah. You got to be able to lean on that 100% without no doubt in your mind. That's what the Father asks of me and you. No doubt. Zero doubt. Zero. None. Yah is light, and in him is no darkness at all. Verse 6, if we say that we have fellowship with him and walk in darkness, we lie and do not the truth. But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Yahushua Messiah, his Son, cleanses us from all sin. If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. If we say that we have not sinned, we make him a liar, and his word is not in us. See, Adam made Father a liar. Father said, don't eat this tree, or you're going to die. The devil said, he's lying. Eat the tree. You'll never die. So Adam and Eve believed our Satan. After they believed our Satan, they got scared. You see, brethren, before the knowledge of good and evil, there was no fear in the heart of Adam and Eve about anything. And what did Adam do? Back to Genesis chapter 3. Back to Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3. Genesis 3. Beginning at verse 7. Genesis 3, beginning at verse 7. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Most High walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Most High amongst the trees of the garden. And Yahweh Most High called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden. I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. They tried to cover themselves with their own way, not with the Father's perfect righteousness. They lost that. So they tried to cover themselves with their own man-made covering. And they were scared. They tried to cover themselves with their own man-made covering, and they were scared. Whereas before, when they were covered in the Father's light, and that's what it says, Yah is light, they were covered in light. It wasn't like they were seeing each other naked bodies. They were naked with no clothes on, but they were covered in a light. Father is light, and in him is no darkness. They were covered in light. When they ate of the tree, the light left. It's gone now. So they seen, oh, shoot, I ain't got nothing on. And they were scared. Since then, man has been scared. Since then, man has been trying to cover himself with his own righteousness, with his own religion, with his own ways. Since then, man started to think he's God. This whole system of Babylon is a man-made system. The banking part, the political part, the religious part, the entertainment part, every part is man-made. Every law is man-made. Every religion in Babylon is man-made. Christianity is man-made. The Father never told Messiah, start this new religion called Christianity, and let's do away with what I gave Moses. That wasn't the deal. He came to confirm Moses' words. So the Christianity is man-made. He never told Abraham, I need you to start this new religion of one children that's going to come down the line called Judah. We're going to call it Judaism. And want you to start this new religion, Abraham. You're going to be the father of a new religion. No, that's not what Abraham was called. Abraham was called to trust the Father's righteousness. Okay? There is no Arab prophet in this book that went into any mountain and heard anything from Father Yah except follow his people and the God of his people and trust in my son who represents my perfect righteousness, which you cannot get into the kingdom without. That's what he told him. And he told him through a Hebrew Israelite. And in fact, the Messiah he is a Hebrew Israelite, as is Moses, as is Elijah. There was no Muslim. There's only one true Most High, and he has only one true people, and he gave them one covenant. He gave them. He didn't give it to everybody else. See, the people that he gave this covenant to as a nation, he said, I am Yahweh, your Most High, which he identifies him. He said, brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So whoever that people is, he is their Most High, and that's who he has chosen, and that's who he gave the covenant to. Not one of them was an Arab. They were bloodline to Abraham. This ain't no allegory. This ain't no story. See, some people try to say that's just a story. It's not really, it didn't really happen. That is some crap. That is piles of cow dung. See, that's what I'm saying. Either you believe it or you don't. Don't come with, this is not really true, but it's like a story. It's like a parable. That's willfully ignorant. Willfully ignorant. There is a chosen people. It is a bloodline. It did come from a man that did live named Abraham. Either you believe it or you don't. If you in, you in. If you out, you out. Don't be half in. Say, I'm going to read Moses and I'm going to read the Quran. You can't do that. Not in this book. Not and be received by the Father. Now, of course, there are people all over the world. They have all these different religions. And some of them have no knowledge of what I just told you. None. Father takes that into account because he's a God of perfect righteousness. So he has mercy on the ignorant. and on those that are out of the way. That's what the Bible says. He does it through Messiah. But those that want to be willfully ignorant, in other words, he's showing you by the power of his Holy Ghost what the truth is, and you stubbornly hanging on to your ignorance because you just need to be right, then you're like your father, the devil, because that's exactly how he operates. We receive perfect righteousness through faith in Messiah by Father Yah. He covers us with the perfection that we could never earn for ourselves. We can never deserve it. We can never muster it up. We can never have it, except he give it to us as a gift for trusting him and trusting his righteousness. And through that trust, like Abraham, he changes us. Like Abraham, we make mistakes. He thought he going to get the son by having sex with Hagar. That wasn't the way. And as Father Yah looks past his errors and trust in him and the trust that Abraham had in him, he puts forth that. He does the same with us. He covers us with perfect righteousness to change us. We don't deserve that, but he makes us perfect, and he brings us into harmony with the covenant that he made with the nation, which is the chosen people, the only chosen people on the planet. And so when somebody say, where was God? My God? He's on his throne in the third heaven. My God? He's working with Messiah and with a whole bunch of angels, millions of them, to get perfection to his people, to train us, to prepare us, to cover us in his own perfection. My God? He's getting ready to come down here and take possession of this earth through Messiah again. He's going to send Messiah down here with an army, and they're going to overthrow Babylon and all man-made religions and all man-made rules and all man-made governments and all man-made buildings, and everything man-made will be destroyed. And he's going to start over with the perfection that's in him. Yes, that's what my God is doing. See, what about all the child molestation? That is happening because man chose to believe he could be his own God. That's why that's happening. That is happening because man decided to cast off this word. Because man decided there's no such thing as perfect righteousness. Man decided that this whole book is a parable. That's what man decided. Man decided it's more important to get paper, to get money. Man decided that power belongs to man. That's why these things are happening. And they will get worse because as the time draws near for the return of Messiah, just as we saw in the beginning of the New Testament in the 4 Gospels, you're going to have more and more people demon possessed. You're going to have more and more people whose conscience is seared with a hot iron. You're going to have more and more people get worse and worse and worse. But those that trust in the Father's word, those that trust, and please look to his word for yourself. Please read scriptures for yourself. Read it for yourself. Pray to the Father. Say, I don't know you. I don't know you very well. I don't know nothing about you except this crazy man on YouTube told me to pray to you, Father Yah. Show me yourself. Give me your spirit. Guide me in this word. If it's yours, show me yourself. And he will. And he will guide you and direct your path. He will convict your heart. He will bring perfection to you. He will change your life. Start at Genesis. Don't skip nothing. Don't skip a word. Read all the way through to Revelation. Are you supposed to understand the whole thing right? No, you're not going to. This is from the Father's Spirit. You got to read it through. He's going to bless you, though, with his spirit as you trust him to read his word, as you love to read his word. And then you go through it again. He's going to bless you some more. He's going to keep putting his spirit on you. The more you're seeking him, the more he gives you. That's why the parable of the talents is important. He gave 1 10, 1 5, and 1 1. Remember that? And the 10, the 5, I'm sorry, he gave 1 5, 1, I think it was 2, and he gave 1 1. The 5 turned into 10, right? The second one doubled his. The third one hid it in the earth and didn't do nothing with it, and then returned what was given to him. Why is that important? Because if the Father is offering you perfection and you receive it, That means you keep coming back at the Father. What you're doing is increasing the talents. That's what you're doing. You're blessed. He's blessing you. The more you come to him, the more he gives you. The more you come to him, the more he calls you to understand his word. The more wisdom he will give you. The more understanding he will give you. The more perfection he will give you. But if you want to ignore all that, you'll lose whatever he was trying to give you. See? You'll lose whatever he was trying to give you, because he was trying to give it to you. Then at the end, you're going to say, Lord, Lord, I did this and that. And he's going to say, I never knew you. I don't know who you are. You can't come in here. I don't know who you are. You ain't even dressed right. You naked. You ain't even dressed right. You can't come in here. See? Let us be covered in Father's righteousness. Let us seek his word. Let us know none of this darkness on the earth is of Father Yah. This is a man. Man asked for this. This is what man got. This is what he asked for. And man is continuing to do just like Adam did. Sow fig leaves to cover his nakedness. And just as silly as Adam looked, so silly man's going to continue to look. There's no law he's going to make. There's no thing he's going to do that's going to change the outcome of what's coming, because man-made stuff is cursed. All of it. Only Father Yah's righteousness and those in it are going to stand through the end. And that end is coming quick. Very quick, as we know. It's coming very quickly. The 40th Jubilee, 2027. The 40th Jubilee from Messiah's announcement is 2027. The 10th day of the 7th month. There'll be no more delays. The 144,000 are getting prepared. And within 5 years of that, it's over. It's over. Done. We don't have much time. 10 years. Now, 9 years. It's almost over. It's going to be done. Okay? Let the world make plans for 2030 and 2040 and 2050. It ain't going there. Guarantee you, it ain't going there. Not going to last. Okay? This thing's going to be cut short in righteousness. He's showing us in his word. I'm not making, I've shown you from the word, right? I'm not making it up. Showing you from the word. And it's written there. Praise the Most High. And he's opening our eyes. It's not because we're smart. He's opening our eyes. He's preparing his people. That's what he promised. To show what? Unto his servants things that must shortly come to pass. Isn't that right? To show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. It's not, it's just his grace is giving us this power to see these things. And he's preparing us. And though, as I'm saying it, those of you receiving it, our spirits are bearing witness. Isn't that very simple, isn't it? Spirits bearing witness to the truth. That's all. Bearing witness. It's not for everybody. That's right. But praise the Most High. Our concern is only for those whose spirits bear witness. Isn't that right? John bore witness. We just read it. Now we bear witness, and our spirits bear witness with each other. That's why he said that we might have fellowship one with another. How do we have fellowship one with another? Our spirits bear witness of the truth. It's not any man-made religion, whether it be SDA, Jehovah's Witness, or whatever Christianity you want to go. It's no Ashkenazi Judaism, nor any sect of Islam. It's bearing witness of the Father's truth of perfect righteousness to his chosen people, the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, whose name was changed to Yasha'ah. And we are their children, and we are their witnesses. Praise the Most High. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you, and may he lift up his countenance of light upon you and give you peace. Shalom, brethren.